Welcome back to Central Valley Today. Tomorrow marks the return of the Master Gardener Association of Fresno Spring Garden Tour. And this tour takes gardening enthusiasts on a journey through 6 local unique gardens. And today we're at one of those gardens on that tour. We are at the garden of Stan Bitters, who's here with us today. And we're also with Chris Hayes and Charlie Hines. You guys are with the Master Gardener Association. Correct. This place, I don't know how you keep it so clean. I need your tips because I'm always fighting the weeds, and this place is a little tranquil hideaway in this part of town that I had no idea. I drive by it every day. We'll start with how you created this space.
Well, I moved here 4 years ago, and there was a large oak tree in the center and all grass around it. And I promptly overwatered it and killed the tree.
That's me.
Took out the grass, and then I was faced with what to do with grounds. I'd never been into gardening before. Hated it, actually, because as a kid I was always mowing the grass at the folks' house at 110 degrees, and we advanced from a push mower to a engine mower. And then I went in the house after the gardening issue came about that, oh, you got to go out and do the weeding.
Yeah.
So I hated it all. But when I got into this situation, I found that continuous planting of plants as they die with something that's going to survive during the winter or whatever, it's taking out the weeds as it just kind of consumes everything. So there's no place to grow for weeds. So I kind of find a happy solution to the gardening.
Yes, this place, and I have been trying to control my yard, and what I have learned is that if you don't have a space for weeds, then they can't grow. So this is just one of the tours, or one of the gardens on the tour. So tell me a little bit about the tour.
Well, the tour is actually 5 local gardens, and then we always open our public garden, which is called the Garden of the Sun, which is over on Winery. And there, you definitely want to go to that because we once again are having a very large plant sale there, so don't miss that on the tour. So we have 2 gardens in the Copper River area, 2 sort of a fig garden area, and then this garden, which is actually not too far from the Garden of the Sun.
How do you go on the tour? Do you drive yourself, or how does that work?
Everybody just is on their own. We do have limited parking at some of these places. Carpooling is always recommended. But it's a self-guided tour. You just wander in. You can spend all day at Stan Bitters' garden if you so choose. And you might want to. Anyway.
I love that. I could spend all day here. I mean, there's all kinds of little I could get lost here. How do you pick the gardens to be on the tour?
There's actually a whole committee that does that every year, and we look at a lot of gardens, and a lot of people self-submit. We love it when people do that, or in this case, I think Meg Thompson, who helped him with his plant selection, suggested that we give him a call, and the rest is history. Now we're here. But there are lots of things that we keep in mind. First and foremost is it needs to be a garden that can be traveled easily, so it needs to be safe. It needs to have safe parking. We've had to, not do some of the gardens just because there was no place to put everybody. But we're looking for variety. We're looking for things that that the homeowner actually does do their own gardening. They're very involved in the plant selection, and they get what's going on in their garden.
Yeah, I had no idea this was here. I'm blown away at how beautiful it is. And Charlie, you are a master gardener, and you are sort of on the committee that comes and maintains the gardens so that they're in tip-top shape when we do the tour. So what have you been doing here at Stan's garden?
Yes, we have about a team of 12 master gardeners that have been out here since February, and we come out here once a week and we just do minor cleanup. We have not planted any new plants. All the plants are original that Stan has planted himself. We have numerous succulents, cacti. We have about a dozen rose plants. We have annuals, we have perennials, but as Stan will mention, this is a sculpture garden. So it emphasizes his sculpture, and every piece that is in the garden, every little area has a piece of his sculpture in it.
Yes, I do want to talk about that. So if you're a fan of the show, you have seen we had a documentarian on the show, and he did a documentary about Stan Bitters. And so how do you incorporate your sculptures into the garden? Was it sort of you had your sculptures and you wanted to grow around it, or how did you come up with this concept?
It varies. It's kind of a happening, and when you begin, there's a lot of space around between plants, and so I started to fill in with sculptures because my nature of the business is directed towards integrating art and architecture. And then when I was faced with a garden, it seemed relevant to just incorporate my sculptures in that garden. As I see, it's probably indicative of what I was doing before.
Well, I think you've come up with a gorgeous sort of living piece of art. I love it. I love the story. And so this is just one of the stories that you can hear on the Master Gardener of Fresno Spring Garden Tour. If people are interested and they want to buy tickets, how can they get tickets?
So tickets are available. At this point, you'll no longer be able to order them through the mail, so you'll have to go into one of the nurseries, and you actually should look at our website to see which nurseries, and there are quite a few different shops and nurseries that are carrying the tickets. You can buy a ticket on the day of the tour, but that could be a little bit of a problem because the addresses are not posted. So they're $30 ahead of time and $35 on the day of the tour. The tour is from 9 to 4, and everyone needs to have a ticket unless it's a baby that you're carrying. If you have toddlers, they do need to have a ticket, and no animals allowed. And some of the gardens are not quite as accessible as others, so you need to keep that in mind.
Okay, well, I think it would be a great Saturday. The weather is supposed to be nice. This is a beautiful gem that we have here in Fresno, and you can see all 6 of the gardens if you buy a ticket and go on the tour tomorrow. Thank you guys so much for inviting me out here. I'm gonna get lost in Stan's garden. Everybody else stay right there. We have more Central Valley Today when we come back.